Growing up, my two biggest passions were sports and magic. Throughout my whole life, I've wanted to find ways to do both. So growing up, I played basketball up until the college level and have loved all sports. I've just been that kid that would watch 10,000 hours of sports. And at the same time, I was creating this magic business and trying to merge the two.
Okay, you're in control.
Sweet.
Start,
Sweet.
And then we'll move to the
Sweet.
hard-hitting interview portion.
Sweet. We're going to do a little sports magic collab because my two careers are being a magician and being a sports capper. And unbeknownst to people, those actually go hand in hand. On the stage, I analyze people and I try to predict what they will do in the crowd. On the field, on the floor, whatever sport I'm analyzing, I try to figure out what the player's going to do. So I figure out people and players. We're going to do a little collab with you.
And players are people.
Players are people. People forget. People yell at them when they don't get their player props, but people have players have emotions, and they are humans as well.
So Parlay Predictor, really more meta than that, you're a people predictor.
I'm a people predictor. Maybe we'll change the name.
That's
People Predictor.
It could work.
People Predictor. We'll put some people in some parlays and predict those. So we're going to do a little collab with sports and magic. I have a deck of cards here. Lou, you're going to keep an eye on that.
Okay, I'm looking at it.
In a minute, I want you to think of an athlete, and you kind of have an athlete already in mind.
Yes.
Very important for people watching. We didn't set this up. There's no way I could know what athlete you're thinking of. And you even changed your mind. You maybe have a few in your mind going on right now.
I've got one solid one in my mind.
One solid one, okay.
You don't know what it is.
I don't.
I do.
I want you to imagine I have a large painting in front of me.
Yep.
And I want you to imagine this player playing his or her sport right here.
Okay.
And you notice how he kind of went up like this. And look at his hands. He's doing a diamond, which tells me that this is, and that laugh confirms it, that this is a baseball player, yes?
Correct.
And this is what I do. I look at people and I analyze their body language, and I do this on the playing field as well. And now he's trying to overcorrect, and he put his hands on the floor, and now he's taking a sip, which means, interesting. Think of also this player's number, if you have that in mind. And I think this worked out perfectly. That deck of cards has been there the whole time. I can't get this, so the deck of cards is going to try to figure it out for you. A lot of things when you're doing mind reading, it's not a trick. It's actually I'm trying to genuinely do this right now. This deck of cards has been sitting here, and you can tell everyone there's no way I could know this person, correct?
Correct.
This athlete. What number are they? It's nice and loud. What number?
9.
9?
Yes.
That deck of cards has been there the whole time. I want you to slowly open it up for me. I'm not going to touch it. 9. And I want you to open it up with the cards face down.
Okay.
Yeah, and tilt them out so they don't change order. And I want you to slowly spread them on the table for me. And you said that player was 9?
Number 9.
Slowly spread them on the table all the way across.
Oh, my God.
And you will see one card is face up.
Colton, can you get this?
Spread them all the way
further.
through. Make sure there's nothing else in there except for the 9.
Okay, there's the 9.
Now, before we flip that over, that's a 1 in 10 chance. But you could have even thought of a player that had a different number. 9. I think Iguodala was 9 at one point. Maybe he was 6. I'm really bad with numbers. What player were you thinking of?
Javi Baez.
Oh, a legend. I, too, wrote one player down on that playing card that has been in view the whole time. Go ahead and flip it over for me and show them Mr. Javi Baez.
How?
That's the magic, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to check out Parlay Predictor, where we predict players like that on the floor as well.
Wow.
So you can keep that as a little souvenir. One day we'll get Javi to sign the other side. That'd be pretty legendary.
So easy.
I love it. And you can keep this deck of cards as well.
Unbelievable.
Full deck of cards. You can keep that. Play some poker with it.
What a cold open.
You'll know when you get the 9 of diamonds when you're playing poker, though.
Yeah, no kidding.
Welcome to the pod. Welcome
to the podcast. People Predictor, Parlay Predictor. What a cold open.
Love it.
One of my favorite, I mean, you can't say your favorite, but let's be real. One of my favorite clients, cappers to work with. Because your story is so unique, because your skill set is so unique, because you just break my brain every time we talk.
Love it.
People who aren't familiar with you share your origin story with them. Like, how did Parlay
Yeah.
Predictor come to be? What's your magic
Absolutely.
acronym? Like, get us
Yeah.
the origin story.
Growing up, my two biggest passions were sports and magic. And throughout my whole life, I've wanted to find ways to do both. So growing up, I played basketball up until the college level and have loved all sports, football, baseball, hockey, you name it. I've just been that kid that would watch 10,000 hours of sports. And at the time, didn't think it was for anything, but I was engraving my brain with this sports DNA. And at the same time, I was creating this magic business and trying to merge the two. Whenever people saw me do a magic show, I would create like a sports jersey that would appear on the back of someone, or try to blend the two. And Javi Baez. I still do magic professionally as well as sports capping with you guys. And growing up, as I said, magic was this kind of just like exponential takeoff for me. I started doing shows and just kept getting gig after gig after gig, and I absolutely loved it, kept building up my business. And while I was doing that, I learned all these business tools and entrepreneurship tools that I thought I was only applying to magic. But about 2 years ago, I found DubClub, and I've always been, as I said, played basketball growing up and
played basketball at a very high level.
Did, yes, sir. I told you before the podcast, my record wasn't a great defender, but I was a shooter. And told him I made 83 threes in a row.
83 three-pointers.
One time. So, Steph, if you're watching this, I challenge you, and I promise I won't make you disappear. It'll be legit. I won't do a trick there. But watched sports, played sports my whole life, and didn't know that I was training the side of my brain that I could use here at DubClub. And always was a good sports bettor, just casually with my friends, and kind of thought maybe I can do this for a living as well. So I dove into sports betting, dove into analytics. When I'm watching sports on the couch with my friends, they're always like, "You should be an announcer." I call the next play before it happened, things like that.
You're like the Tony Romo of couch commentators.
Maybe I'm the Tony Romo of magic. Ooh.
Oh,
I don't want that name. I'm kidding. Love you, Tony. But so about
Tony's an active listener to the pod. So.
About a year and a half ago, came to you guys with DubClub, and been a great partnership ever since.
So how does I get the sports thing.
Yes.
Like, you were a sports player, you know the game,
100%.
You've watched a lot of SportsCenter in your life. How does the magic side of things make you a better sports bettor?
So as I said, unbeknownst to a lot of people, they kind of go hand in hand. When I tell people, what do? I say I'm a professional magician and sports analyst, and they say, what the hell?
What's the middle of that Venn diagram?
But when I'm doing, as you saw with this trick, when I'm doing magic shows, a lot of what I do is like mentalism, mind reading, trying to figure out what the audience is going to do. So on the stage, I predict what my crowd's going to do. And yes, there's tricks, there's sleight of hand, there's misdirection. But a lot of what I've learned being a magician is the human psychology of it. And a lot of that translates to what I do on the sports betting side, is predicting players, predicting what they're going to do, and honestly trusting my instinct. Like, a lot of people ask me why I'm a good sports bettor, and you can teach anyone how to read stats. You can teach anyone how to read a prop bet cheat sheet. But I think one of the best techniques I have is trusting my instinct. And I've honed that from years of being an entrepreneur, being a magician, trusting my gut on stage. And trusting my instinct, I think, is one of my biggest perks of being a sports bettor. Like, I can see a line and be like, my instinct says that's off. And then I go into the analysis of it and figure it out. And whether the instincts were true or not, I think trusting your instinct in any field is one of the biggest things you can have in business.
How do you train to be a mentalist on the magic side of things? The prediction of the human psychology, is that something you read a book about?
100%.
Is that something that you...
People will see me and be like, "You're Harry Potter," and I'm like, I am not. I was not born with this. No one has these. It's not psychic skills. I started out when I was 7 years old, saw a magician on a cruise ship and fell in love with it.
Wow.
And my parents bought me my first magic kit, and similar to the sports side, I just dove into the fundamentals of it and started reading books, and pretty much self-taught myself. So all the things I learned up until I was like 13, 14 years old were pretty much self-taught out of books. YouTube was actually incredible. A lot of people say YouTube ruined magic because people were revealing secrets, which is one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is I wouldn't be a magician without YouTube and people revealing stuff to me. And then wonderful mentors in my life. But just like sports, it takes 10,000 hours to be good at something. and I just dove into the fundamentals and trying to be great.
What do you learn in the gig environment? So you did all this practice, reading, studying
100%.
on YouTube, in the library, whatever it may be. But you said you're kind of constantly learning in the live venue setting as well.
Yes.
What are you learning? How do you read crowds? What have you picked up as a scaled performer?
Great question. So I think even if you're the best technical magician in the world, maybe you're the best sleight of hand artist, you might not be a great performer, because to be a great performer, you have to be a good people person. And you could have the best card trick, but if someone sees it on stage, you have to have a why, and they have to be able to relate to it. So it's coming out with an angle with sports. You love Javi Baez. If I just revealed the 9 of diamonds, would have been a cool trick, but you would forget about it the next day. But it's having an angle that people can relate to and people can remember. And I think just being making things about people in anything is the key.
One of the questions that always comes up in podcasts about sports betting is what's your biggest loss or your most memorable, painful loss?
Yeah.
Do you have a moment like that, but for Magic, where a trick went wrong or the crowd was dead?
Yes.
I can see you smiling.
Absolutely.
So there's a story. I want to hear it.
I have probably 10 things that just came to my mind, and for the 100 good shows, you'll remember the one bad show. And athletes can relate to that as well.
100%.
They'll have 100 good games, but they'll remember the missed shot that they missed in the important game. And those are the things that actually make you better.
Yeah.
But one of the funniest ones is it was in 2018. It was when I was really starting to. I basically just said yes to every gig, and I was just grinding, just getting my face out there. And I performed at this. For anyone watching in Denver, this bar on Colfax, dive bar. It was an 70s versus 80s rock band night. So it was with
some magic interlude.
With some magic. So I was in between the bands, the 70s band perform, and then I was the interlude before the 80s band. And you can imagine people just rocking out, getting wasted, doing drugs, and then this young magician comes on stage trying to get their attention. And what I learned is I need to get their attention quick, and I need to get them on my side, because if I don't get them on my side, they're probably going to throw a bottle at me or something. So I get someone on stage, do a trick. It goes well, but this dude was so impressed and so drunk, whatever, out of his mind, that he was like, oh my God, and starts falling off the stage.
No, he did not.
Starts falling off the stage. So I have to drop my props. I drop everything. People see how the trick's done, to catch this guy, and then I bring him back on stage. And I dropped, threw my props on the floor, had to basically be like, that's my set, and I just saved your life, so I guess that's a good show.
It's like the Hippocratic Oath of magic.
Yes.
First rule is do no harm.
Yes. So that was it was a good show, but then this man started falling off the stage, and I had to just ditch everything.
You got a little lost in the magic.
So what I learned there is you always have to have a backup for everything. So it's never happened again, but if someone does start falling off the stage, I have a little trick to levitate them back up. So we'll see if it ever comes back up. But I think what I said is similar to athletes. If they miss that last shot, they're not just going to dwell on it. They're going to go in the gym and shoot 500 more shots.
That's why we started with the levitating.
Yeah. In anything, I think you can learn from your mistakes and come out better on the other side.
Okay, I want to double click on the venue, the synergy between magic and sports capping.
Yeah.
One of the common threads is performance. The words that were coming out of your mouth a second ago, like getting people on your side, establishing the why in the narrative.
100%.
Obviously, in our world, in the sports capping, a lot of that happens on social media because people don't go to a set to get your plays. They check out your Instagram reels.
Yep.
Did you hone that skill? Do you have a big presence on social for your magic side, or was it more taking what you've learned performing at venues and bring it to the social media side of things?
It was a little bit of both. When I was starting out in my career, I basically did this thing every Monday. I call it Magic Mondays. I would post a video on Instagram of me just doing a little trick.
Love it.
And this kind of comes back to the mistake. Tricks were good, but didn't get a ton of traction. And what I learned is I kind of just gave up after a few weeks of doing it. And in the social world, you got to just post to make any traction. So I learned a lot, didn't do as much social from the magic side, but what I learned, I have applied to the sports capping world.
Yeah.
And what I do is I pretty much post every day on Instagram, and people have DM'd me, people have messaged me being like, if one day I take off from posting on Instagram, people message me being like, where's the bet for today? I miss you. So it's kind of like consistency is king in that world, and goes back to like I learned that doing gigs is you just got to repetition. And so I, at the time when I was doing magic, didn't really think social media was, I was like, oh, this sucks. I didn't learn anything from there.
Yeah.
But 5 years later, looking back, I wouldn't have this experience if it wasn't for that.
What's the biggest difference between building that very social relationship where you're on stage in a crowd versus on social media where you're building that parasocial relationship? People have never met you in real life.
Totally.
You can't have that tactile feedback. You're kind of speaking into the void in your selfie camera, but you're still trying to build that, and you have built that habit forming feeling where people miss you when you take the day off.
I think it's all about being like transparent and honest to create that relationship on social media, especially in the sports capping world. Like if you have a loss and you don't accept it, like people will like not trust you. And obviously we post all our wins, all our losses. No one's going to win 100% of their bets. So I think one of the reasons people like my page is I'm always transparent and honest. And that goes back to being a magician. Magicians had always been kind of a stereotype of being like tricksters. And it goes back to like street performers trying to take your money, things like that. When I'm on stage, I make it about the audience and I don't make it about myself. And that goes back to like the mind reading mentalism is I don't like to trick people. I like to bring them on like a journey in the show. And I think the same can be applied to sports cap. And I think my number one thing I try to make on social media is always be transparent, always be honest. And people, even though they're looking through a screen, can tell that about people. There's so much BS that people can tell when you're being honest and genuine. And I think people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's click a level deeper on the sports capping subscription side of things. This is something I love asking people because there's so much variance among our client base and the whole space. People are doing the same sort of things, but it's a totally different product they're actually offering.
Yep.
So what would, first of all, how do you describe it? Like I run into an elevator.
Yeah.
I follow you on Instagram. Why would I buy your subscription product, your DubClub subscription product? What's different, and how do you describe that product itself?
So like number one, most importantly, goes back to what I just said. We're always transparent. We're always honest. We try to give our subscribers the tools to succeed. No one's going to win 100% of their bets, but what I think is important is educating people about sports betting, making them better sports bettors, and making sure they have good bankroll management, good unit sizes, and we try to make it fun. I absolutely, like, why I got into this is I just love sports. And so many people have come to our page and subscribed for NFL season, and we are, I like to call myself the player prop king. Like, I love doing player props, and I think it gets you more involved in the game. And people have gone onto the MLB season saying, I never watched baseball, but I'm going to keep subscribing to you because I loved NFL season. And they have fallen in love with baseball, fallen in love with Shohei and Stephen Kwan and all these players that we bet on. And I think going back, what separates us is, number one, I've never had a losing season in the three sports I specialize in, which is MLB, NFL, or NBA. MLB's been up and down this season, but we're still at about the plus 20 unit mark, which I will take 100 days out of the week. And I said we're always transparent. If we go through a losing streak, we'll tell you guys, like, tail cautiously, like, we're going through a losing streak, but stick to unit management. So I think we're obviously very good at player props, but being honest, being transparent, and making it fun, I think, is the number one important thing.
Love it.
That's what separates me.
What is it about you and your process that you think has supported those amazing results? Because it is really impressive.
Thank you. I think, going back to what I said earlier, is I think my number one biggest adversary in all this is trusting my instinct. I've watched so many hours of sports that I can look at a line and say, and you're not right 100% of the time, but if you're right 60% of the time, you'll be successful. I think I can look at a line and trust my instinct and say that's a little off, and then I go into the detailed analysis. If I see for example, the NBA, Jokic is playing a team that he has owned, and maybe he has a little nagging injury, so his points line is a little low. I'll say, well, this nagging injury is not going to affect his scoring. It's probably going to affect his passing because he's not going to want to do things with his shoulder to pass X, Y, and Z. My instinct tells me that, and then I go into the analysis, and it tells that I am correct, and then I will send that out. So I think just the years of, I didn't know it at the time, but the years of...
You were depositing in the bank account.
The years of sitting on my couch on Sunday watching 7 hours of commercial-free football paid off. But it's trusting those hours of instinct.
I'm working, this is important.
Yeah, exactly. Tell that to my girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have players you like betting specifically in each sport where you're like, these are the first ones I'm looking at in the morning?
Yes and no. I think that can be a trap and a downfall to have players that you rely on consistently.
Interesting.
But it depends on season to season. Like last season, I'm trying to think, Michael Porter Jr. For the Nuggets, we bet
Porter family's had some interesting
they have
history in the betting space.
His points and rebounds prop we sent out probably 30 times in the NBA season. And if you think 82 games, 30 games is a lot.
Yeah.
He hit his, for the whole season.
And mostly overs?
Mostly overs.
Okay.
He hit his over on points and rebounds, I think, don't quote me on this, but about 70% of games last season. And it was a mixture of, he had really good games of scoring that he'd have low rebounds with, and then he'd have really good rebound games with low scoring.
Yeah.
So he would go over his points and rebounds, but his points and rebounds lined individually didn't fluctuate much.
Yeah.
So it was one of those niche things, and then the last half of the season, they bumped it up and corrected it, so it wasn't as successful. Bo Nix for the Broncos, obviously. I don't only bet Denver sports fans, but these are just the ones that came to me. His completions line hit at about 70% of games last season. And I've already looked for this coming season. They've already adjusted that. Mm-hmm. But
those rascals.
Being in Denver, I actually went to training camp, watched a lot of new Sean Payton's offense. I knew it was going to be an extension of the run game where Bo Nix was going to be checking down and not many run plays, but check downs to the running back. And there would be games where he would have 3-4 check downs on a drive.
Yeah.
And it didn't have many passing yards, which is why it didn't fluctuate much, but his completion line was one of those. So I wouldn't recommend these for next season because, as I said, season to season it differs. Mm-hmm. But I think it's looking at those anomalies and, as I said, trusting my instinct because I knew Sean Payton's offense and I knew that there would be a lot of checkdowns there.
You're a Denver guy.
Yes.
You watch a lot of sports. I assume you watch a lot of Nuggets games and a lot of Broncos games.
Absolutely.
Does that help you go even a layer deeper? Like, I'm going back to what you said earlier about psychology.
100%.
And, like, reading body language.
Absolutely.
Game to game. Like, you said something about nagging injuries.
Absolutely.
Like, do you try to specialize in those Denver area teams because you watch more of the film, or do you have other markets where it's like I watch every Lakers game, or it's more so like you just pick it up as you accumulate?
More so pick and choose. I would say yes and no. I would say a downfall is betting on teams that you actually watch a lot and you support.
Yep.
Because
I'm guilty of that.
You want to take you want to take emotion out of it. It's difficult too.
Yep. I need to be betting Cubs unders.
Yes.
That's the winning strategy.
Yes. But I would say like I watch just as many NBA League Pass games as I do Nuggets games.
Yeah.
It's just like I have insight into the Denver because I watch like local sports channels and local things.
Which is an advantage.
There is an advantage, but I would say it is a downfall to bet on your team and be emotional unless you have a analytical edge to it.
Yeah. How
so
many games
yes
do you
no.
think you watch a night in the NBA season, for example?
The number's not gonna make me happy. It's a high number, and I also NBA.
You've got
League,
a very patient girlfriend.
She does, yeah. NBA League Pass has a nice feature where you can kind of do like multi-view, so it's difficult to say. It's a lot of games, and granted, I am working because I am watching and analyzing it.
Yeah.
And there are so many tools that you can use to speed that up.
Yep.
To cut to highlights, cut to key plays. Which is a perk of AI, is just like being able to watch these things so much quicker. But it doesn't feel like work to me. I enjoy it, and I think if it gets to that point where you're like falling asleep watching film, like what makes me special, I think, is my enthusiasm for the sport, and I think you have to hold on to that.
Segment your time such that that fire doesn't go out.
Absolutely.
Okay, now let's talk about making the leap and actually turning this into a business. You did it in Magic.
Yep.
Now you've done it in sports capping.
Yes, sir.
What was that journey like? Why DubClub?
Absolutely.
Talk us through that story.
So I had a few people that I followed on social media that were with you guys at DubClub, and talked with them. Heard nothing but you gotta reach out to them. Heard nothing but the best, and I can say you guys are the best in this industry. And it's not even
that wasn't prompted.
It's not even no.
It's like the magic.
It's not even close. Hand on Bible, like it's not even close. The support that you guys give, the platform that you have, that just takes a lot off my plate, so I can focus on what actually matters. Is making good picks is the key. And I learned that in Magic, that I was spending 80% of my time on the things that were difficult to do, the marketing, the outreach, the things that it probably hindered my craft a little bit. And I think what separates DubClub is that it allows you to focus on what you actually do, and that's making picks, that's doing the sports betting, and you guys automate and do so much on your side that allows us to focus on our craft. And I thank you guys for that.
What are the biggest differences? Well, thank you.
Yes.
Because, like I said, you have a very cool, unique story, and you're the real deal. So it's a pleasure working with you.
That.
We appreciate the kind words. What are the biggest differences between? Because you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You can't help yourself.
I can't. It's in my blood.
It's like, give them a couple years, they'll have a third business running.
We have one on the back burner right now.
I want to hear about
yes.
that. What are the biggest differences in building these parallel businesses? Talk about, like, speaking to the entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
Who's thinking about turning their passion project into an actual business, whether it's Magic, whether it's sports. Like, what are the differences you've observed?
I think number one, and you hit on it there, you have to be passionate about it. And it's different for different people, but if I wasn't passionate about Magic and sports, I wouldn't be at the level I am. And you can ask anyone who's passionate about what they do. There are going to be things that you don't like that you have to get through. And that's what I didn't know, is people always like, if you're doing something you love, you won't have to work a day in your life. And that's true and that's not. I obviously love what I do, but there are days that you do calls, you do meetings, you do things that you don't want to do, and you have to do those things to grow. And one of my mentors told me something that said, if you're doing the same thing every day, if you're not doing one hard thing every day, you're doing it wrong. Whether it's in exercise, whether it's in business, it's training that part of your brain to do hard things, and that will set you apart from others that are just doing the comfortable thing. And it's similar to what athletes say, is you gotta, Kobe said it, like, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, you gotta do those uncomfortable things to get to the next level in business. And that's one thing I would encourage entrepreneurs, is just get outside your comfort zone. Do one thing every day that you don't want to do that'll push you.
What's an example of that for both businesses, where, like, if you could talk to yourself, or if 2 years ago, Scotty could see one thing, it's like, wow, you're doing that?
Yeah.
You wouldn't like that.
I think and it doesn't necessarily have to be about a business. It could be something personal. Like, it could be getting up in the morning and getting in a cold plunge or cold ass shower, and that'll set you up for the rest of the day. Everything else is easy compared to that. But in each business, like in Magic, like, there are tricks that I come up with that I have to spend sometimes months to perfect. And by the second, third month, I'm like, this is so annoying. Like, I don't want to do this, because I lost sight of my vision in the first place. And it's like, it can be a grind, but it's like, you just got to see your vision through. And that's one example. Like, this trick that I came up with was a version on this, like, sports jersey trick that I came up with that took me like 2 years to figure out.
Wow.
And
what is that process?
By the second
this is fascinating.
So it's different in each trick. Like, sports betting, Magic, you learn techniques when you're like initially starting. Like, you learn how to do card sleight of hand things. You learn how to do this mind reading thing. And once you have all the tools in your toolbox, per se, you can create your own tricks. And that's what's hard, is starting with a vision. So, like, I started with this vision saying, I want to pick someone in the audience, have them think of a player, and I do a little twirl on stage. My shirt turns into the jersey they're thinking of. That's my vision. That's a lofty vision. I have no idea how to achieve that magic trick. And then it's working backwards with everything you know.
And that is a trick that's in your your trick box now.
It's not exactly how I described it. I don't do like a ballerina twirl on stage.
That would be cool.
But it would be cool. But I do a thing where underneath this shirt is the jersey they have, or the player they were thinking of. So it's still really cool, but it's shifting your vision.
It took you 2 years to nail that.
About 2 years, yeah.
What were the trials and tribulations that, like?
So I do a lot of
blocked,
like open mics where you got to be able to like. One thing I do is like I didn't want to try this trick out for the first time because I was like, this might not go well.
Yeah. It's kind of like stand-up comedy.
Exactly.
Trying out a new joke.
It's like you gotta like in stand-up comedy, you gotta bomb to find the good joke.
Yeah.
And goes back to things like no stand-up comedian wants to bomb on stage. Like that's not why you do it. But you have to do those things that you don't like to find that hidden gem.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a great example.
Yeah.
Of like putting in the 10,000 hours in a non-glamorous thing.
100%.
In magic, where
Yes.
I'm grinding on this trick for 2 years.
Yep.
It sucks. Yeah, I'm getting stuck. I have to go to an open mic night.
Yep.
I have to, save some guy from falling off
Yes.
the stage. He almost died. What about the sports capping?
Yeah.
Like, what's some of the dirty work that gets done behind the scenes that has helped you turn this into such a
100%.
cool business so quickly?
I would say I definitely wouldn't be where I am without social media. I mostly am on Instagram and TikTok, and I do like posting on it, but it's a grind to post every day.
Yes.
And there are ways to automate the things that you don't like. But for my page, like people trust my face, and they trust me giving the video, as I called back. It's like we're always honest, trustworthy. We make it fun. If I were just posting screenshots, it wouldn't be as efficient. So I don't love doing the videos on days that I don't want to get up early.
Yeah.
And you could sleep in and then get out of bed, watch.
You're on vacation. You're probably still doing
Watch Red Zone. Yeah, it's me with my girlfriend on vacation on the beach filming a video. That it's those things that, yeah, it's easy to film 1 or 2 videos, but doing it consistently, it's about like looking at that end goal. Like I love doing this, but it's getting in the weeds and doing those things that you don't like. That when I was like doing the ladder challenge or things, posting videos, the first, second, third video wouldn't get any traction. But once you get to that 4th video, once you get to that 400th video, 4,000th video, then it starts getting traction. And it's hard to do that consistently, but it's about putting in those hours and just making it consistent.
What's the key to remaining disciplined?
I think looking at that end goal. In sports betting, want to create a big community of people that love sports betting and that I can help out. And I love watching sports. I love making my picks. And if I can get it to a bigger audience, it's all about making it a bigger audience and helping them out. And I wouldn't be able to do that without social media.
Yeah. Kind of leads me to my final question.
Yes.
What comes next? What's your vision?
Similar to my magic career, I want to just pour gasoline on this fire. I want to grow this. And the more people that we can, as I said, I want to make this a fun place where people can win more bets. And obviously no one's going to win 100% of the time, but I want to make this a fun place to, even where like people DM me and be like, even on a bet that lost, they were like, that analysis was great. It changed the way I watched the game a little bit. Teaching people about sports. There's so many things that I just want to create a bigger community, and I want to do that with DubClub.
What a pleasure.
Thank you, Lou.
Hopefully people listening get a richer appreciation of what a special entrepreneur, content creator, capper, magician you are.
I appreciate that.
It was a blast.
You guys are fantastic, so make sure to check out DubClub.
Make sure to check out ParlayPredictor, People Predictor.
Lou, it's been fantastic.
Woohoo!
Thank you.